Did you know most honey really isn't healthy? It's actually the equivalent to sugar as far as your blood is concerned. I'm going to explain how and why this is. The real bee is a stingless fly. It looks like a housefly. This bee was made by man. I'm going to explain it all, and I'm ready for the comments. So let's get into it. In case you didn't know, just about everything in America is a hybrid, even the honeybees. These honeybees were made in Europe by a bunch of different bees. They created them. They never occurred in nature, and they never originated in the United States. All these honeybees you see flying around were made and brought over from Europe. And when you play God and you do these things, you run into all kinds of issues. Like here on your government's biotech website, they tell you despite the nutritional and medicinal values, honey is prone to microbial and non-microbial contaminants. Several microorganisms, including bacteria, mold, yeast from pollen, bee intestine, human equipment, containers, and dust may infect this honey. This is just the surface. This isn't even talking about the pesticides and everything else in this honey. And I know a lot of people are going to get upset, so let's go through every single fact here. Honey may contain contaminant with traces of pesticides, herbicides, antibiotics, heavy metals due to the bee disease control and the exposure of honeybees to this toxic environment. Don't worry, it goes way deeper than this. Honey may also contain poisonous compounds, particularly granotoxins, found in mad honey, which originates from this flower here. And now they're axing these bees. What are they doing? And now they have legit GMO bees. They take them into laboratories and mess with their genetics. There's literally random GMO bees all over the place. And I know a lot of people are going to be upset by this. But when we read between the lines, the government tells us the non-sugar constituents, such as enzymes, amino acids, vitamins, blah, 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 that are supposed to be in honey are at minor quantities, but they define the health benefits of the honey. That means that it's pretty much just sugar with a little bit of these benefits, trying to make it play off and seem like this is something that's healthy, and it's not. And I'm going to continue explaining why. I'll explain how the stingless bee honey is actually very good for you. Also, Dr. Sebi talked about the bees, you guys. Bee honey is acidic because these bees are hybrid, but the real bees found in true nature that are stingless, they have an alkaline honey. Dr. Sebi explained that this bee is a hybrid, and all it does is equate to sugar in the body. This honey is not beneficial like they make you think it is. And then you learn that honey is the third most faked food in the world. So we have to ask ourselves that there's a lot of fake honey out here. There's these honey launderers. There's all kinds of these Honeygate scandals. You guys, they're faking this honey. They're making corn syrup, and they're playing it off as if it's some kind of health remedy, as if this honey is good for you. This is not a real substance. These bees have been crossed and recrossed so many times that it is virtually impossible that the subspecies are any longer separate. That means they're playing God and they're breeding these bees unnaturally. These bees never would have fornicated in this way. It creates mutant hybrid animals. Right here on your government's biotech website, they tell you honey and other bee products are polluted by pesticides, heavy metals, bacteria, and radioactive materials. And for those who are going to keep fighting me on the local bee honey, I get my local honey from a beekeeper. Honeybees can't be considered native wildlife as they are technically an invasive species because they brought them here from Europe, you guys. These invasive species are brought to North America by European settlers as early as 1622. Honeybees were coveted for their honey-making ability. Honeybees were even referred to as the white man's flies by the indigenous people. They were not here. Globally, the honey market is valued at $8.9 billion in 2021 and estimated to reach $25.8 billion by 2028. This is all not from real bees. This is all either fake honey or it's from hybridized acidic bees. And this honeybee honey is actually more acidic than coffee. Coffee is extremely acidic. What happens if you eat honey every day? Excess consumption of honey may lead to weight gain, inflammation, heart disease, liver disease, dementia, and many other illnesses related to high sugar intake, because this honey is literally equivalent to sugar as far as your blood sugar is concerned. Plus, these beekeepers spray chemicals directly in these beehives. They spray pesticides. They spray all kinds of crazy stuff. These bees are one of the most toxic things flying around you. I truly hope you can hang through all this, because this rabbit hole keeps going. Different species of honeybees cannot successfully mate with each other. These guys are playing God with these animals. They're crossing them, making them a mule. They're using a male donkey with a female horse, you guys. That's what they're doing with these bees, and we are consuming their liquids. And when you say that these bees are good for the environment, they're not doing anything for the environment. Believe it or not, these beehives are not natural because they brought these bees in here. These bees are not wild, and they're not doing anything but harming the ecosystem. They're invasive species. Let's meet the real bee. It's called a stingless bee, you guys. Real bees don't actually sting. The man-made honeybees are the ones they got stinging. Real bees do not sting. They have an alkaline honey, and their honey is healthy. It's actually good for you. It's a little bit tart. It's not pure sugar, and it's actually beneficial. The stingless bee honey has anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, anti-diabetic, antioxidant, and all kinds of other health benefits, as opposed to this acidic sugar hybrid honey that these bees are pumping out and everybody's eating thinking that it's good for them. It's literally the equivalent of sugar. Government's biotech goes on to tell us right here that this honey significantly increases your insulin, but they just told us that the stingless bee honey helps with your insulin, helps regulate your blood sugars, and is actually good for you because this is coming from a God-made animal. These are from man-made animals. These bees are made by man. They're not natural. Their bee isn't good for you. Don't matter if it's raw. Don't matter if it's local. Their bee creates a sugar, and it's not good for us, and it's an acid bomb. This other honey is good for us. So here we go again, where the natural-made bee is the healthy bee, and the man-made bee is the one that's not healthy, just like everything else they've done.